taste for what this is like, Watershed's actually playing Smalls tonight at about 11 o'clock at Hamtramck. You can try the coffee at King Video and Convenience Mart if it's still there. Yeah?
Coolest party store ever. No, seriously, check in this. They have a cockatoo on the bottle return shopping cart. There's a parrot in there, like a bird, tropical bird.
That's pretty cool. I might have to start writing my next book from inside King Video. Yeah. So, I mean, if there are any questions, maybe I can answer a question.
Yeah,
or Colin and I could play a song or two.
We're going to get the guys to come up and do a couple songs if you guys will stick around.
Yeah.
And how about one more time, give a big hand for Joe. And are there any questions you guys have immediately for Joe?
You mentioned that you were teaching English.
Yeah.
How did you manage to find the time to become a professor?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like so many people, when things go sour, I went back to school, right? Like the economy goes sour, you go back to school. When Watershed was at a low ebb in our career, I went back to school and got a master's degree in creative writing. And we were still playing gigs all along that whole time. And this book actually started out, the first draft of this book was my master's thesis. It was a very different version of the book. That version was about 400 pages long, and I barely got us out of high school. I just started at the beginning and went. Nobody wants to read that version of the book. Not Colin, not Joe Animal, not Biggie, nobody. Right? So I've since taken the book through, I don't know, 5 or 6 more revisions to get to where this is. Yeah. And now I kind of have to write because it's my job, because that publisher perish thing, that's kind of legit in academia. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Same band members?
Actually, Colin and I have been together the whole time since the garage and the folding papers. Our original drummer, Herb, quit after only 13 years. And I will tell you, the straw that broke the camel's back with Herb was our month or 2 month long tour with the Insane Clown Posse. I really liked those guys. And Colin and I had quite a bit of fun on that tour, but after 30 or so nights of an arena full of 14-year-old kids doing this to us, the whole time, it pretty much took our drummer out of the game. So our new drummer has been with us since 1998.
Wow.
So, you know, he's a new guy.
Yeah. And
you gonna write another book, Joe?
I am going to write another book, yeah.
Is it going to be on the music business? Or
It's not. It's going to be about high school football, actually. Yeah, in Conway, South Carolina, where I live now, in 1989, the Conway High School Tigers were coming off an 8-4 season, and it looked like they'd have a legitimate shot at winning the state championship because they had this returning quarterback who was going to be a senior, African-American guy, and a couple weeks before the first game, the coach benches the African-American guy in favor of a white guy with no experience. So 31 of the 35 African-American players on the team staged a boycott and walked off, completely walked off. They only won 1 game that year, and the game that they won was the last game of the year, and the only reason why they won it is because Hurricane Hugo came down in the middle of the season. They had to postpone that game to the end, and then they won that game. So I'm going to tell the story of that 1989 season, coupled with the current season, which is about to happen, which is the coach's 30th season at that team. The coach is still the coach of Conway High School. And the white quarterback that the coach elevated to the starting position is now the coach of Myrtle Beach High School, which is Conway's biggest rival. So we're going to follow the Myrtle Beach team, the Conway team this year, and tell the story of this year and the story of the 1989 season when the African-American players boycotted.
So not only are you a rock and roller, but you're a sports fan. And I noticed that you used the metaphor of the minor leagues of baseball for this particular. Did you play sports in high school, or just
see? Colin and I went Worthington High School, where we went. Our graduating class was 690 people. You had to be really good to play sports at our high school. And I'll speak for myself here. I think Colin's a little better than me. I was just on the south side of average. You know, so I didn't really make any of the teams, and you know, I remember one time in middle school, I went to try out for the basketball team. I went through the first tryout day, and that was fine. But the second day Rush was playing in Cleveland, and I said, forget tryouts, I'm going to see Rush. When I got back to tryouts the next day, I found myself cut. Go figure. So I made the choice of rock and roll over sports very early. Either that or the choice was made for me.
Right. Got a question?
Yeah.
You said that your father had a guitar in his closet and that he was a preacher?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When he
How
was a
did that-
younger man, he was a priest.
Oh, okay. How did that
You're talking
inform,
about Catholic priest or
Yes.
Episcopalian, yeah?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
how did that inform your choice for a career in rock and roll?
Well, I think it takes a lot of faith to climb into a van and travel from town to town to town, knowing that the rewards you get on the surface aren't going to look like what conventionally passes for success or what conventionally passes for rewards. The other night in Washington, D.C., we had a show that it seems to me was an absolute, unadulterated success. There were about 40 people, everybody was having a good time, fans were there singing every word to our songs. NPR was actually there to do a story about the band, which is going to air this Sunday. NPR Weekend Edition was doing a story about the band and the book. And then, how much did we make? Right? The one standard by which success is unfortunately measured. How much did we make? $37. Total. Total. Right? So it takes a lot of faith, I think, to get in the van and keep driving from town to town, knowing that the rewards will be so
Was there any
sketchy.
rebellious aspect of that? I guess I'm thinking, you know, the classic cliche, your dad's a preacher, you rebel and join a rock band.
Nah, my dad was our biggest supporter from the very beginning.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So you got published in Esquire magazine
Yeah.
more than once, or?
Yeah, a few times.
Oh yeah, no guess. I've been reading that for years.
Yeah,
And
a
so
few
to me,
times.
to me, that's a good measure of success, getting in there. What articles did you do? I'm trying to
I had the
remember.
sweetest gig ever
Yeah.
for Esquire magazine. I would go from town to town and write about the best bars in America.
They just had that issue.
Yeah, if I found a really good bar that I liked, I'd pitch it to the people in New York and say, "Send me to this bar to go drink some more."
Yeah, that's a great gig.
Yeah, that's a pretty good gig.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
and as a guy in a band, I may be uniquely qualified for that gig.
Mary Ellen has a question.
Would you do anything differently, and do you have any regrets?
Well, you know, in sports, keeping with the sports metaphor, they say that, you know, for instance, a shortstop or a cornerback in football has to have a really short memory. You just get up and play the next play. Other than the writing of this book, which took a tremendous amount of energy looking back, we don't look back that often. Regrets, the only real regret I had, so we were on Epic Records, the big major label, for 2 years. And we released one full-length album on Epic Records. And then they dropped us because the album, frankly, wasn't that good. We were young and we didn't really know what we were doing. I guess if I have anything like regret, it's I just wish we would have gotten one more shot while we still had all the resources of Epic Records behind us. Because I think we got a lot better shortly thereafter. But for Epic, it was too late.
Well, how about taking a shot right now with us and inviting your friend Colin up
Sure.
here to do a song with you?
Yeah,
That'd be great.
absolutely.